on August 2nd at 8 p.m. on the island of St. Farteau. Bear witness to a live virgin sacrifice.
I'm sorry, but we can't do that. We couldn't find any. Howdy and welcome. I'm Xorti Magica and thank you for dropping by. Your company really does mean a lot, so I'm grateful to have you join me today. Hope we have a lot of fun today. But before we get started, I do have an important question for you. It's a big one. How are you doing? Are you doing okay? Are you having a good day? Hey, that's kind of like rhyming. I'm a poet and I wish I didn't know it, right? But seriously, I hope that you've been having a good week and I hope that you're able to have fun, that things are going well for you, that your fortunes are turning around if they needed to be turned around, and that you're having a great time. So I do have a question. Have you had the experience where your friends or your spouse or your romantic interest or your parole officer or this nail salon lady says something that's just plain weird? Nothing bad per se, but just weird. One of those things that you want to do a WTF, right? The reason I'm bringing this up is that this person that I used to work with texted me the other day and asked me if I was going to celebrate Mickey Mouse's birthday. And I said, what? And yeah, she said, yeah, Mickey Mouse's birthday. It's November 18th, but we should celebrate it and have a party. Now, I'm up for parties. Trust me, I am up for parties. But am I seriously expected to celebrate the fictional birthday of a fictional rodent? I mean, really? And I don't know if you remember this, but I did live in New York City. I've seen those rats, and I'm not going anywhere near those dudes, and I'm certainly not going to throw a party for those gross and disgusting things. I mean, they're the size of dogs. I mean, yikes. I mean, gross. And by gross, I mean yikes. And by the way, even if rats weren't so gross, I wouldn't celebrate Mickey's birthday anyway. I mean, I don't know if you know this, but there's recorded evidence that Mickey Mouse is a stone cold psycho. A stone cold psycho, yeah. It shows up in his first film, Steamboat Willie. I mean, take a look at this. So here we go, right? This is from Steamboat Willie, and Mickey's jamming, doing a percussion thing to Turkey in the Straw, right? Things are okay, you know, he's jamming, that little duck on the sides going, this cat goes by, hey, what's going on? Now, look at this. Look what Mickey's doing. He's torturing this cat. That cat is in pain. And oh my God, look at this. He's swinging him around. Look at Mickey's face. Look. And then he grabs the duck, and look, he's choking the duck. I don't know if that's a sexual euphemism, but look, he's choking this duck, and this duck is screaming in pain and agony. Look at Mickey's face. He's enjoying this. This is psycho. This duck is screaming for help, right? Look at this. Now, we switch to this next scene here. Mickey is torturing little baby piglets, and all they're trying to do is feed from mommy. Look at him, he's smiling. This guy's psycho. And then, look, oh my God, he's like, and he kicked them. And now he's sexually harassing that pig. This isn't Mickey Mouse. This is Mickey Manson. I mean, yikes. Oh my God, look at this. And look at the smile on his face. And yes, that's Mickey, man. Steamboat Willie. I don't know. I just don't know. So all I can say is that I am not celebrating Mickey's birthday. That's not going to happen. But it did make me wonder about cartoons in general, right? It made me think about the plots of cartoon series, especially the old classic ones. So in that spirit, I thought we could try a little something here. This is our first multiple choice quiz. Now, this is either going to be fun, and it's going to work well, or it's going to suck, who knows. But here's what we'll do. I'll throw out a description, Xorti style of course, of a classic cartoon series, and you let me know which answer is the right one. Yeah, I know this is video, but it's a fun gag. So, yeah, let's give this a shot. You ready? Here we go. Series number 1. This is the story of an overtly optimistic exfoliator residing in an architecturally unique biological domicile in an exclusive subaquatic environment who, in addition to overcoming the challenges posed by a disreputable food service industry business owner, strives to address the trials and tribulations of an oblivious echinoderm best friend and a depressive and choleric decapodal neighbor. Is it A, SpongeBob SquarePants? B, Squidward Q Tentacles, lover, fighter, clarinetist? C, When I Wish Upon a Starfish? Or D, Mr. Krabs' Escape from Alcatraz? Yeah, you know it's A, but I want it to be B. I want to see what Squidward can do on the disco floor, you know, with the lighting and everything, right?
Squidward.
All right, so that's number 1. Let's move on to number 2. Series number 2. This is the story of a visually impaired, middle-aged ex-mariner who, upon reaching his limits of masochistic tolerance, doubles down on his green herbal dependency to extract vehement violence upon his perpetual tormentor with the continued hope of winning the affections of his psychologically manipulative and marginally feminine love interest. Is it A, Popeye the Sailor? B, I Am What I Am? C, I Want a Divorce, Olive? Or D, The Misadventures of Bluto Mars? Yeah, I know it's A. And by the way, the gag is that they're all going to be A. All right, so I think you're going to figure that out pretty quick. Yeah, Popeye. So here comes number 3. In this series, we witness the consistent, futile, and nearly fatal failures experienced by a chronically depressed and malnourished desert dweller in pursuit of a speed-obsessed and monosyllabic avian who delights in the principal character's demoralizing disasters, downfalls, and persistent bodily injury. Is it A, The Roadrunner? B, Thelma and Louise, the sequel? C, the Acme Anvil Technology Showcase? Or D, Beep Beep My Ass? Oh, I want that one to be D, don't you? I'm sorry, but that Roadrunner's a shit. He's kind of an asshole. But that's just what I think. Okay, so number 4. In this ongoing saga, 4 homeless and perpetually unemployed teenagers ruthlessly exploit a canine's incurable addictions, rampant agoraphobia, and chronic nyctophobia on a daily basis in their obsessive pursuit of unorthodox solutions to local, urban, and rural mythologies. Is it A, Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? B, Roro's pregnant. God, I'm terrible at that one. C, Shaggy's House Party. Or D, Bernie Madoff would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for those meddling feds. Yeah, I know. I want it to be C this time. Okay, series number 5. I was told once that with a podcast you should teach something. I don't think I'm teaching anything, do you? So here's number 5. This is the story of a perpetually angry, dubiously civilized Cro-Magnon crane operator whose frequent emotional outbursts often result in chaotic and disturbing challenges for his patient but enabling spouse, as well as for his best friend who seems to have a dubious employment history and dubious past. Is it A, the Flintstones? B, Barney Rubble, Man of Mystery? C, Dr. Chief Auto Partstone, podiatrist and brake specialist? Or D, whatever became of the Flintstones cat? You know, that's a damn good question. You only see him in the first episode. After that, that sucker's MIA. In search of the mysterious Flintstones cat. Yeah, I know. So, series number 6. In this post-apocalyptic series, we witness the cultural inner workings of a remote and isolated society whose blue-skinned population seems to suffer from acute chromosomal irregularities that have resulted in only one living female within the entire population. Is it A, the Smurfs? B, the Blue Man Group's bastard children? C, Smurf vs. Avatar? Or D, Smurfette After Dark? I know, you guys all want D, huh?
Smurfette. Smurfette. Shake it. Smurfette. Smurfette.
This is really silly, isn't it? All right. Series number 7. This is the last one we're doing, so here we go. In this seemingly never-ending series, we witness unchaperoned miners as they force their Tourette-suffering non-human indentured servants to engage in combative open combat against other similarly exploited animal captives. Is it A, Pokemon? B, the polysyllabic adventures of Pikachu, master linguist? C, Ash versus the Evil Dead? Oh yeah, that actually exists, but it's not about Pokemon. And D, When Pokemon Attack. Yeah, I want it to be D. Actually, that already is what it is, right? So let's make it B. We can have the Pikachu story, right? Alright, I couldn't help making fun of those. But we might do this gag again, so please write in the comments cartoon series that you think we should make fun of. You know the ones that I'm talking about, right? But to be fair, I've watched a lot of cartoons, a lot of cartoons, and there are some ones that I really do like. Of course, I do like Looney Tunes because frankly, they make sense to me. And oh, I love Gravity Falls. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty bitchin'. And Rick and Morty is funny as hell, right? Archer is too. Bob's Burger is really clever. It's fun, and you can see that they put a lot of effort into it. In that one, there's like a song at the end of every one. F is for Family is really crude, but it's awesome. And yeah, I guess the reason that we like cartoons so much is because life is like a cartoon. Or a Twilight Zone. I don't know. I haven't figured out which one it is yet. On that note, I'm going to take a real quick break here, and show some clips. I always take chances with these clips, but they're fun. They're just fun to make, and they're kind of silly, and I don't know. It's kind of how I am, I think. But please know that I'm so grateful for your company, and thank you so much for being here. It really, really means a lot. So I'll be back in just a moment. Check out these clips.
Smurfette. Smurfette. Shake it. Smurfette. Smurfette.
Hey, welcome back. A couple of episodes ago, I mentioned that I'm in a life reboot. Have you ever had to do a life reboot? And if you did, what was it like for you? Was it successful? Did you come out okay? So sometimes professional reboots happen quickly, and that's awesome when it does. Unfortunately, I'm afraid that's not the case here. This one is taking a really long time, and to be candid, I was down for a while. I was not feeling all that positive about myself. But it was during this time that I actually met a new hero, though. Let me explain. During this downtime, I got this crazy ass idea. I said, Xorti, since you have some downtime anyway, and life isn't exactly sugar and rainbows right now, why don't you do something for you? Why don't you do something that you like, or something new, or something that you've always wanted to do? So I did. I started taking surfing lessons from this dude named Brian. Now, Brian's not his real name, but I didn't get a chance to ask him for permission to mention him, so for this story, his name is Brian. Now, I gotta be honest with you, I sucked during that first surfing lesson. I really sucked. I was exhausted, I had a major headache, every muscle hurt, and I was even nauseous. Really nauseous, if you know what I mean. I was almost ready to quit. In fact, quitting was going to be my priority. But it was at this point that Brian became a hero. Instead of letting me feel bad about myself, he actually pointed out the things that I did right. And I did more right than I thought I did. And he also made me feel okay about what I didn't get right, which was admittedly a lot. He didn't make it a big deal that I only got up on my knees instead of standing up all the way. He actually said that surfing is riding the wave, not how you look doing it. According to this, I surfed. I almost canceled the second lesson though. I started getting like that headache that you get, that anxiety headache. But I went anyway. I sucked less, and I got up on my knees a couple more times. I paddled better. I was less tired. And throughout it all, Brian continued his encouragement. So I went to my third lesson and my fourth. But yesterday, on my fifth lesson, I popped up on the board and actually stood up 4 times. Now, it was only for 5 seconds each time or so, but I was up. I actually got up. I actually rode waves. I actually surfed, all along with Brian's encouragement. Now the problem is that I have 2 whole days from now before my next lesson, and I can't wait. I want to do it again. It's pretty awesome. So Brian is my new hero. So thank you, Brian. By the way, this prompts me to ask you a very special question though. Who are your heroes? And what makes them heroes for you? I used to think that heroes were the people who, in spite of being afraid, took the step forward anyway. I still think that, but now I feel that heroes are also the people that help us take that step forward, especially when we're afraid. So if it's okay, I'd like to tell you about 2 other heroes of mine. And like in the previous story, I'm changing their names again. So the first one happened in 6th grade. I'd moved to a new school in a really small town. This town was really tiny. I think the total population was 800, and I think it's still that. Since I was a very serious little kid, oh boy was I serious. I'll explain that in another episode because that's actually important later. But I was a serious little kid. I always behaved. I was always a good little boy because I never wanted any trouble. So yeah, I was very serious, way too serious. So in this school, I met this kid named Steve Bratton. Steve was, I don't know how to say it, he was kind of the town outcast. He smoked, he didn't have nice clothing like everybody else or anything, kind of a loner. In fact, his whole family were considered outcasts in this tiny little town. I got along with him okay, but we weren't exactly friends either. He was just some dude in class. Anyway, we had mandatory choir practice every week at school, and the teacher, he was actually an okay guy, was having us sing some really lame songs. I mean, totally lame. Dude, he made us sing The Carpenters and ABBA, which made me want somebody, anyone, to pull the fire alarm and get us out. They didn't. So here we were singing In His Hands. I think you know the song. He's got the whole world in his hands. I think you know this. And so here we're singing this song, and I look over at Steve Bratton, and he's next to me, and he's singing and chuckling. I couldn't hear him at first, but then I did. He sang, "He's got the whole world up his ass. He's got the whole wide world up his ass. He's got the whole world up his ass. He's got the whole world up his ass." And I'm trying not to laugh. I'm really trying not to laugh, but I couldn't help it because I got the visuals and they were ridiculous. He was trying to get me to do it too, but I was too chicken. I was too serious, but I was too chicken. But when he got to the part of, "He's got the little bitty babies up his ass. He's got the little bitty babies up his ass," I just lost it. I just totally lost it. I was laughing so hard that I could not get enough air into my lungs fast enough. I was gonna suffocate laughing. And then I actually fell to the ground, and I'm laughing and so hard. And clearly this got the teacher's attention, and he looked at us, and he's looking at me, and I made up an excuse. I said that I swallowed my spit and it made me laugh, because I didn't want to get Steve in trouble. But it was so funny. But Steve taught me something that day. He taught me the value of humor. And for that alone, he made me a better person. So cheers to you, Steve. You're awesome. And by the way, please know that the story is not an affront to religion. We've all been kids and we've said some really silly things and we've made fun of things. But to be fair, whenever I hear the song, I always hear Steve Bratton's version. Now, a year later, I would meet my second hero, Bob Purnell. I was at a Boy Scout camp, and all campers needed to take a swim test on the first day. And here's how the swimming testing worked. It was done by colors, white, red, and blue. If you were a white swimmer, it meant that you couldn't swim, or that you could only swim less than 50 yards, or you suck as a swimmer, basically. If you were a red swimmer, it meant that you could swim 50 yards. And if you were a blue swimmer, you could swim 100 yards or more. And they could only do a swim test for anybody once per day. And while they were explaining the testing, I saw the canoes, and I instantly wanted to be a canoe person. I wanted to actually do that on the lake. But only blue swimmers could do that. Only blue swimmers could be on the canoe. And I thought, okay, it's on. So I got in the water to do my testing. And guess how I did? Guess. I jumped in the water and I swam as hard as I could. Boy, I was putting everything I had into it. But I couldn't even swim 50 yards, man. I was a white swimmer. I sucked. And I was crushed. I felt really bummed. I felt like a total loser. The lifeguard, Bob Purnell, said that any of us could come back the next day if we didn't like how we did. So I told him I would. And my plan was just to swim harder. So the next morning I went to the lake and Bob was already there. He said, "Are you ready to go?" And I said, "Sure." So I jumped in and began swimming, and I swam even harder. Right? I swam for 25 yards, 1/4 of the way that I needed to go. And I swam some more. 35 yards, 40 yards, 50 yards. But I swam so hard that I was already tired and I couldn't go on. Shit. I was only a red swimmer now. I tried so hard and I just couldn't do it. I didn't make blue and I really wanted to cry, man. I'll admit that to you. At that point, Bob saw my disappointment and my sadness. He came over and he said, "Xorti, you can do this, but you really got to try something different." I do? What do I got to do? He said that the way that I was swimming was making me work too hard. And that's when he taught me the side stroke. And he spent an hour teaching me this thing. And it seemed to be working. I was moving forward and I wasn't getting tired. Then he looked at me and said, "Dude, you better come back here tomorrow, Xorti." And I said that I would. So the next morning, I was there bright and early again. "Ready," he said. "This time, Xorti, I'm going to walk along the pier and I want you to swim to the end of the pier and back twice. That's exactly 100 yards. Now you can do this, dude. You can do this." So I got in the water and I began the side stroke. And I reached the 25 yards a lot easier, which surprised me. I got to tell you that. I even reached the 50-yard marker okay. But I was getting a little tired, right? I wasn't a swimmer. I swim fine now, but this was a while back. We won't tell you how long. "Xorti, keep going, keep going." He started chanting, "Xorti, Xorti, Xorti," and somehow that motivated me. I was tired though, but I did reach the 75-yard mark. But like I said, I was tired, man. It was catching up to me. But I could still hear Bob. He was still chanting, "Xorti, Xorti," and that kept me going. It seemed in my mind that I was hearing a bunch of people shouting for me. "Xorti, Xorti," right? So I reached 80 yards, 90 yards, 95. Looks like I'm going to make it. Looks like I'm going to make it. I still kept hearing the chanting. "Xorti, Xorti." 100 yards. Dude, I made it. I made it. Suddenly, I heard applause. And it turns out that Bob wasn't the only one on the deck. There were like 30 people there, and they were all chanting, "Xorti, Xorti." Then Bob rushed out and he shook my hand. "You did it, dude. You're a blue swimmer." It was all I could do not to hold back the tears of joy. I mean, I didn't want to look like a wuss. I mean, this was Boy Scout camp, right? But this was really awesome. It really was awesome. Then he just looked at me and he said, "Let me guess, Xorti, you want to learn canoeing now, right?" "Yes, please." And I spent the rest of camp at the lake. Morning, noon, night, I was there. And during that time, I got my canoeing merit badge. I got one for swimming and one for rowing. It was awesome. I loved it. So Bob taught me to look at things in a different way when I'm stuck, which is kind of what I'm trying to do now during my reboot and my downtime, right? Looking at all of this a different way. So if it's okay, I hope we can take a moment to thank our heroes, those people who inspired us, those people who believed in us when we didn't even believe in ourselves, those people who showed us that we are much more amazing than we think. So thank you for letting me share these stories with you. It means a lot. I appreciate that you give me a chance to use my voice and share my experiences and stories with you. And I kind of want to know what yours are, right? If you want to take a moment in the comments and talk about your heroes and what they mean to you, that would be awesome. It would be really great. On that note, I'm going to take a very short break and show some clips. So hope you enjoy them. They're fun. They're fun to put together. They're kind of silly sometimes. But I do like sharing them with you, as I do enjoy your company so much. I'll be right back. Hey, thank you for spending time with me today. We sure did some crazy stuff, huh? Sometimes you just have to be crazy, I guess. And sometimes you just have to share your voice. So I want to thank you for helping me share my voice with you. You know, sometime in the future, I'm going to need to tell you why it's so important and why I'm so grateful. But for now, I just want to say thank you and also say that I'm extremely grateful for your company. I hope that today you have an amazing day and that you have an amazing week, heck, an amazing month and an amazing year too. I hope that you get to have fun and to be yourself. In other words, continue to be the badass that you are. Oh, one more thing before we depart. I never say goodbye. It's just too final. I just say bye for now, which promises that we will get together again soon. So, have fun, be fun, and see you soon. Bye for now.